Well, now it's time to have a look at the Scottish Formula Ford 1600 Championship with Mazda Road to India. An official feeder series is this championship. The guys are on track just now, warming up their tyres behind the pace car, and after qualifying, it was that man, number one, the defending champion Ross Martin, who was quickest from Jordan Gronkowski. And then we have a newcomer to mention, not just any newcomer as well. In the Zero car, run by GBR, Graham Bunton Racing, we have Josh Smith. He is going to be devastatingly fast this weekend as he gets up to speed with that car. Ross Martin knows him very well. These guys are friends away from the circuit. They do a lot of things like water sports together. So Ross has told us just how quick Josh is going to be. And Josh has been keeping his powder kind of dry, to tell the truth, but it will be very interesting to see if he gets on in that dark blue car on the second row of the grid. Alongside him is Matthew Chisholm. Then we have James Clark and Sebastian Melrose. Seb Melrose, car number 88, qualifying quite low actually in the third row of the grid, something we're not used to seeing. Anyway, everybody now in their grid slots. We await the lights on the Beatson's Building Supply Bridge, and the 5-second board goes out. This is where the left leg starts to shake that little bit in the clutch as you hold it at the biting point. 5 lights on the gantry. Lights out, let's go racing down towards Duffus Dip for the first time. We've asking a good start from Melrose there as he kinks out behind Matthew Chisholm, but Ross Martin has the gap at the front. Look at the start from Seb Melrose. Wow, fabulous stuff. He's already into third place. He's overhauled Josh Smith and 4 or 5 other cars as well in that one. So a great start to the race by number 88 Seb Melrose as he gets himself back to where he thinks he should rightfully be, and he should be there. Up the back straight though go your leaders, in fact go the entire field. Ross Martin from Jordan Gronkowski, sideways Seb Melrose, then the Zero car of Josh Smith. Ooh, Fraser Gray extremely sideways. Did he hold that? Well, I can't see any dust clouds in the background, so I'm thinking that's a yes as Gary Sykes comes up the inside. Very forceful move from Gary Sykes, the elder statesman on the track. Can we say that, Gary? Yes, we can. Elder statesman, but drives like he's 15 years old, 16 years old. Absolutely on the limit there and towards hairpin, passing young Josh as the two leaders go over the apex of Duffus Dip. Bit of sausage curb on the inside for Gronkowski as Melrose goes through now, and then a bit of a gap back to the rest of the pack. So the 3 at the front on it here, starting to get away as they go over the crest of the chicane. And Seb Melrose will be happy that he doesn't see Josh Smith behind him. Now where's Josh Smith gone actually in the Zero car? Because that's James Clark there behind him in the Magal now, behind Gary Sykes. Have we lost the Zero car? Has it got a problem? He comes through, he's quite far off the pace here. Understeers, often touches the gravel, so losing a little bit of pace from qualifying to the race as James Clark tries to come up the inside. We've got Ross Howe trying to go around the outside of Matthew Chisholm. A lot of action here at the hairpin, and through they come up the main straight now, trying to get a slipstream. James Clark is kind of in the middle, he doesn't know where to go here in that Magal SG08. Into the pits goes Josh Smith. We saw him just peel off at the last minute there. The Zero car heading for pit lane. So obviously some sort of mechanical issue with that car, and in also comes Fraser Gray, a very dusty Fraser Gray. So did he have a spin at Clark when we saw him going very sideways towards the gravel trap? I would have to say, hazard a guess and say yes, he did. It's Gary Sykes, former mechanic for Tom Brown, and that wasn't just yesterday, ladies and gentlemen. Gary, this was on his bucket list. He said he always wanted to do this, and by heck, he is doing it very, very well. Out there racing with the youngsters here, and at the front, Ross Martin's been closed up by Jordan Gronkowski. Jordan in the number 33 Van Diemen, starting to put a bit of pressure on. Oh, there's contact at the air, but that looks like it was Ross Howe. Ross Howe has lost the nose cone and the front shock cover off that car by the looks of things there. And who did he catch the back of? Was it James Clark by any chance? Unfortunately, our cameras just didn't pick that one up. Can't get everything as Gary Sykes comes through with Matthew Chisholm in the Van Diemen behind him. Matthew number 92 in that car, which is self-wrapped by himself and his mother. And they've done a jolly good job making that car look nice and red. Up the back straight they go towards Clark. Through Clark, Gary Sykes under big pressure now from the young man from Perth. And yeah, Ross Howe, you can see the bits missing of Ross Howe's car. So the RF99 of Ross Howe has nose cones kind of deranged, and the big thing with the shock panel coming off, you basically can see the driver's knees now. He will lose a huge amount of front end downforce off that. The cars don't generate a lot anyway, but if you lose that, you're basically becoming a sail, and also it'll be a pretty cold drive. And what you don't want to have is a car maybe going off the road in front of you and a stone coming back and rattling your kneecap. You would know all about that. over the crest of Duffus goes Gary Sykes, and hot pursuit Matthew Chisholm still there, but we go back towards the front, and we've got Ross Martin and Jordan Gronkowski here. Hammer and nail each other up the back straight. Jordan Gronkowski chasing as hard as he possibly can. Has he got anything in the tank to get past Ross Martin? Well, he possibly does actually, because Jordan's lap times right now is quicker than Ross Martin. A 55.7 for Gronkowski and a 55.8, a 54.7 and 54.8 for the respective drivers. So Gronkowski a tenth of a second faster at this point. And Chisholm is that Chisholm ahead of Sykes? It looks like it possibly is, with James Martin right in the mix of that as well now. Yeah, Matthew Chisholm has got past Gary Sykes. So Gary Sykes has held onto that place long enough, but he is not dropping off the back of young Matt Chisholm. He's staying very much there, as into the pits once again comes Josh Smith. So this is a race to forget for young Josh, unfortunately. This first 12-lap race for the Scottish Formula 4 1600 Championship, the official feeder series for the Mazda Road to Indy. And that's a bit of it'll be a DNF, I would imagine, for Josh Smith in that race. Not what the team want to see. Gary Sykes now is under big pressure, and big pressure as well, but for Ross Martin, as Jordan Gronkowski tries to go round outside of him. Ross Martin's been around long enough in race series, he's not going to let that happen to him. As they go up the main straight, Martin now knows he is in a proper race, and Seb Melrose, we haven't said much about Seb. A fine third place for that man now, 55.1 his fastest lap of the race. In fact, he goes faster than that lap. He goes and does a 55.122 instead of a 188, so a couple of hundreds faster for Seb. But that's what it's all about, making progress, trying to catch up with these guys at the front. Gronkowski looks mighty quick through the first complex of Knockhill from Duffus to the chicane. Seems to catch up with Ross Martin as he comes through Clark. Ross Martin dancing about sideways a little bit there as they come towards the apex of Clark Corner and head towards the hairpin. Now, has Gronkowski got anything left in the tank to try and get past as Matthew Chisholm comes through, and Gary Sykes takes a big hunk of sausage curb on the inside there. We need to be switching to the hairpin to try and find out what's happening with the Ross Martin Gronkowski thing. They're already through and away, and it's Gary Sykes now who's under big pressure from that number 78 McGall SJ08 in the hands of James Clark. And James has been getting quicker every race, which is great to see. Another man, these youngsters get faster and faster as Martin, showing pressure, locks up the inside light wheel, the front right locks up there, manages to release the brake, get off that so it starts to rotate again. You don't want to flat spot your tyre, it will really hurt you. And when you flat spot a tyre, it's like you're driving on a 50p piece for the remainder of the race, and 9 times out of 10 it wants to then lock up on that same flat spot as you hit the brakes at the next big braking point. Martin and Gronkowski go through. Wow, Matthew Chisholm. Whoa, that was the Rallycross edition of Matthew Chisholm there. He comes through. But up the main straight, still under massive pressure. Ross Martin's coped with this so well, but he's not got much further to go as they go over the crest of hill here at Knockhill. Can he hold on with this increasing pressure from Jordan Gronkowski as they go over the crest of Duffus? Ross Martin is still driving that Ray GR17 within an inch of its life. GR, Gavin Ray. Gavin here this weekend as official support for the GBR team, the official customer racing team up here in Scotland, and nationally for the Ray cars. Cardown Creameries on the side of James Clark's McGall. They've been around a sponsor for quite a long time. Remember seeing them on the side of Fiestas in the past. Look at Ross Howe, still with that nose cone dragging on the ground and the shock cover missing. He'll get out of that car probably pretty cold, to tell you the truth. And let's hope he's not had any stones rattling off his kneecaps or his shins. Here they come. He's got Steve Barlow, who was a bit of a sensation at the start of the year, behind him. And look at this, Clark's trying to go around the outside now of Gary Sykes. Gary Sykes a little bit of a snatchy down change here, but it looks like things the car was really dancing about. He leaves the hairpin in the middle of the road. Right behind him is James Clark. And then we dance back towards McIntyre's, where the Martin Gronkowski show comes through. This is massive pressure. As Seb Melrose goes off. Oh, Seb makes a mistake, loses a little tad of concentration, possibly locks up a wheel going into turn 3, and off he goes. That's how easy it is, ladies and gentlemen. He's got to recover from that, and he does have a big enough gap not to worry about Matthew Chisholm. But we're in towards the hairpin now. Again, Martin defends on the way in. Gronkowski tries to go around the outside of him as they accelerate from the hairpin up towards the flagging point here on the main straight at Knockhill. Ross Martin has been pretty sensational about that defensive line in towards the hairpin, not letting anybody get close to even having him as they go over the top of Duffus Dip now. through Leslie's, named after the late, great David Leslie, and there is a special Formula Ford race for these guys this weekend, the David Leslie Trophy race. And that is the one they all want to win. They've all got a new set of tyres, Melrose, Martin Gronkowski. We've seen Josh Smith with them as well. The David Leslie Trophy race will be the last one that they do, and that's where they get a lovely, lovely big rose bowl with all the winners' names engraved on it. Let's see who takes that later on in the day. But right now, though, Ross Martin's got bigger things on his mind than the David Leslie Trophy race. He's going to try and hold off Jordan Gronkowski as Seb Melrose goes through. You can see the gap now massive from second to third after that grass-tracky, gravelly moment that Seb Melrose had. And Seb's got to watch he doesn't come under too much pressure from Matthew Chisholm, but it looks like he's got enough of a buffer behind him as the checker flag flies for Ross Martin. Gronkowski does take a very well-deserved second place. Seb Melrose will be relieved to take that third place after ending up in the gravel at McIntyre's turn 3. And Matthew Chisholm comes over the line to clock off a good fourth place ahead of, who is it going to be? It's going to be Gary Sykes from James Clark in the Magal. Damaged Ross Howe ahead of Steve Barlow. Cracking Formula Ford race as the rest of the guys come into the hairpin. That will be Fraser Gray, who we saw in the pit lane. Fraser will drive up towards the checker flag, and I'm pretty sure Ross Martin will be happy to see that checker flag because the pressure was definitely mounting. Fastest lap of the race was Jordan Gronkowski with a 54.6. Let's hand down to Fee for some post-race analysis. Fiona, take it away.
Well done, Ross. Another win for you. Can't be many last laps like that one.
Yeah, it was pretty close. Jordan was on me all the way from the start, but yeah, I think there's a few things I need to work on. I think McIntyre's and chicane, he was a lot faster than me, so I've tried to take that into the races tomorrow. But then again, it's another win to the championship and 7 out of 7, so I'm pretty happy with that.
And there's quite a special race tomorrow. Tell me a little bit more about that.
Yeah, so we've got David Leslie Trophy on Sunday and the last race of the day. So last year I had a huge accident trying to win that last year, but you know, I'm always going to look for positives, and I think last year could have had it in the bag, but then obviously it was thrown away like that. But you know, I'm going to go for it this year, and if it ends up the same situation again, it will happen.
You never know, it might be 9 out of 9 by then.
I'll give it a go.
Best of luck for tomorrow, Ross. Thank you. Well done, Jordan. P2, that was a close finish at the end there.
Yeah, it was a fantastic race. The car was really difficult to drive in qualifying, so I'm really pleased that we got on top of that. The handling was much better, and I was able to stick with Ross, which before the race I was a bit concerned he would disappear off into the distance. So no, early on in the race I saw that Seb got a fantastic start, so I didn't want to endanger the guys behind getting involved. So I didn't push him too much early on, but once we had a decent gap, it was obvious he was starting to struggle with the rears a little bit, I think. So I started to put the pressure on, but round here it's so tough to pass if you're up against an experienced guy like Ross who knows where to put the car. So I was just happy to put the pressure on him and wait for a mistake, which never came. And yeah, I think we got fastest lap, somebody said as well. So it's good to be battling for the lead, and it's great to be back in the podium again. Thanks to the sponsors, my race space, and my dad as well for putting the car together for us.
Did you change anything on the car from qualifying to race, or is it just the track conditions have changed?
No, we changed the car quite majorly, which finally has been a good thing. Sometimes you change the car, as you know, and it goes the other way, and you think, why did I change it? But it was nice to be able to get the pace back. So yeah.
And are you keeping it as the same for tomorrow?
Yeah, probably. The conditions should stay the same, I think, from the forecast. So we'll just see what happens. 2 more races, starting in the same place again, obviously, for the next one. So yeah, we'll try and go one better at some point.
Good. Well, best of luck for tomorrow.
Cheers, thank you.
Thank you.
Da.
Well done, Seb. P6 to P3. Tell me a bit about that race.
Yeah, it was since this morning. It's been a bit of a struggle. I didn't think I was going to be coming home with a trophy, but I got off the line really well. Went straight to P3. So I was like, I'm struggling a bit, but I'll just try and make it stick and drive with what I've got. And I noticed I'd pulled a gap from everyone behind me, so I was like, just bring the car home and hopefully the 2 in front tangle up and I can get through, but they didn't, which is fair enough. So all I can ask for really is just to be on the podium for now, yeah.
Good. And you're going to make any changes for the 2 races tomorrow?
I think we're going to have to, yeah. It's been a huge struggle. I mean, I was crying after qualifying. Imagine me in tears. It's not a good look.
No, I can't imagine you ever sad, Seb.
Exactly. So, no, we're definitely going to have to make big changes tomorrow. But for now, it's a solid finish. Just get to work tonight and be here tomorrow and hopefully be a step up or 2 steps up.
Good. Well, best of luck for tomorrow.
Thank you very much.
So welcome to the Scottish Formula Ford 1600 Championship. The guys leaving the holding area here at a dry but albeit blustery Knockhill racing circuit, and it's also not that cold. Temperature pretty favourable for these cars. They don't like, obviously, the hot. The drivers don't like the cold, but ultimately it's going to be good for the engines. Nice breathable air as we see them all making their way out onto the circuit. The car at the very back there, the dark blue number 0. That's Josh Smith, and Josh was a retirement in race number 1, unfortunately. Electrical issue, but it turned out to be rotor arm failure after all said and done back at the GBR camp. So Josh will be looking forward to getting his basically first proper race in that GBR car to see exactly where he fits in round about the Scottish Championship grid. Fastest man in race number 1 was that guy there, the second car through the shot, number 33, Jordan Gronkowski. Jordan managed to clock a 54.6 second lap, so he was absolutely flying here at Knockhill. And that man there in the white car, Seb Melrose, will be out for revenge. He finished 9 seconds off the back of the leaders. Only 3 tenths separating Martin and Gronkowski. So, basically Seb, it doesn't tell the whole story of his race, a 9-second gap. But guaranteed he will be gunning for the back of these guys at the front as we see them rolling up the hill here at Knockhill Racing Circuit. And that's an interesting point because in a Formula car you don't have a handbrake, so if you're not in the first row and a half basically here at Knockhill, you're doing a hill start. You've got to try and balance it on the biting point, try and keep the revs perfect. You might be covering the brake. It's a bit of an art form itself. So we get all the guys into position, a few of them just getting checked off by the grid marshals. Josh Smith, the last dark blue car, about to come into position, and then we will get a green flag at the back, and that should be us clear for getting ready to go. So there she goes, the 5-second board in the air, and the lights start to come on the Beatson's Building Supply Bridge here at Knockhill. A full complement of lights. Who's going to get the jump down towards the first corner? Away they go. Bit of wheel spin from Ross Martin. Spins the back left wheel, kicks up a bit of smoke from that, but that surely won't hamper him down towards first corner as we pick it up. Yes, it's Martin, but look at this. Seb Melrose tries to go round the outside of Jordan Gronkowski. Can he make that stick? He's hanging it out round the inside at Leslie's, but no, Gronkowski cuts the nose of Seb Melrose. Very forceful driving, first of all from Melrose. Seb will be happy with that one, but also Gronkowski says no chance, Seb, and he cuts the nose off him going through Leslie's in towards turn 3 McIntyre. So good robust driving by both those youngsters at the start of the race, and that has allowed Ross Martin just that little bit of breathing space. And that was Josh Smith picking up the gravel as he went through Clark Corner, but already made up a couple of positions as we get the first 3 through the hairpin. At the back for second place with Jordan Gronkowski and Sebastian Melrose. Seb now right in the slipstream. Look at him, he goes left, he goes right, he follows the slipstream over the crest of the hill. By the time we get to toughest dip, will we see if Seb gets alongside on board with Gronkowski? Where's Melrose? There he is in his mirror. So no, Gronkowski's managed to hold off Seb just now. Cracking on board shots here. As you can see, the driver working away, changes gear with his right hand. So a little bit different, sorry, not the normal thing that you do in your normal road car. Gear lever just on the right hand side there, and that was a nice controlled drift coming through the chicane there by Jordan Gronkowski. Some cracking onboard pictures here given to us by Jordan, and he's already started to pull away a little bit from Sebastian Melrose, and he is homing up to the back of Ross Martin. So one thing's for sure this weekend, that number 33, Van Diemen, has a good bit of pace about it as we go further back. Look at this, Josh Smith slides up the inside of 1 and 2. He gets Matthew Chisholm as well. Great manoeuvre there, gets Ross Howe and Matt Chisholm in one manoeuvre at the hairpin. You better watch out, everybody. Josh Smith has got a head of steam in race number 2 here, and he is coming towards the front as the top 3 go through. The 4th place car is just out of my sight. That could be Gary Sykes though. As we go through Duffus Dip, let's pick him up. Yep, Gary Sykes already with Smith problems as he comes through McIntyre's. Josh Smith is absolutely tearing up Knockhill Racing Circuit, going from the back of the grid, trying to get himself up towards the sharp end where he thinks he really should be. And I've got to agree, that's where he does belong. 1, 2, gap back to 3, gap back to Gary Sykes, who has no gap over Josh Smith. Steve Barlow also very sideways coming through the top of Clark Corner there. And I think behind him would have been Fraser Gray's up the inside. Look at that, mirror signal manoeuvre, controlled by the braking. Up the inside goes Josh Smith, and through he goes up the main straight now in his Ray, the GR14 car. So a little bit older than some of these other cars out here, but driving extremely well. Over the crest of the hill they go. There's Fraser Gray, number 77 at the back. And look at this, Jordan Gronkowski really has got a good head of steam about him this weekend. That car is dialed in, and look at him home right up to the back of Ross Martin. carrying more corner entry speed there, and he's managing to keep the grip. And I've got to say, if that Van Diemen gets in the front, it might be the last everybody sees of him. Big gap back behind Seb Melrose to Josh Smith, who has already gapped Gary Sykes. Can Josh Smith bridge that gap to Seb Melrose? Can Seb keep the pace up as we go side by side on the lead? Look at that perfect onboard shot. Ross Martin tries to cut in towards the inside of Gronkowski. Gronkowski says no, and he leaves him lovely racing room when he exits the corner there. Very, very polite Jordan Gronkowski. Where is Ross Martin? We could see him in the wing mirror there, the little rear view mirror. We could see him just popping out from the slipstream. So Jordan wasn't giving him racing room. Jordan was covering the inside because Ross Martin was trying to cut back there. A good manoeuvre that if you can make it stick, but Gronkowski hits the front from Ross Martin, and Seb Melrose. All that battling has just brought Seb in the number 88 car back up towards the two guys at the front as they go through the chicane and up the back straight. That Van Diemen looked pretty hot as they go through chicane there. Gronkowski looks like he's got a completely different line from everybody else, and it seems to want to sit down as Seb Melrose kicks up the gravel at Clark's because he's got an incoming dark blue car, and that's a 0 of Josh Smith. Oh, Gronkowski makes a mistake at the hairpin. Is that going to cost him the race lead up the straight here? He was sideways on corner entry there. Was that a late gear change? Did it catch him out? One way and the other goes Martin. A little bit of weaving there. Ross Martin trying to pick a side. He goes to the left. He won't go around the outside of Jordan Gronkowski because Gronkowski can hold that as they go over the top of Duffus into Les's. Gronkowski has gone from being all-out attack at the front. He's now under big defensive. Martin's on the inside of Butchers. Wow, what a manoeuvre. Ross Martin wheel in the grass for Gronkowski. He manages to hold that, but that was proper hard racing there. Good bit of overtaking from Ross Martin. Very opportunistic stuff on the exit of turn 3, and all this battling has brought Melrose right up towards the back of them, as we can see in the mirror there. Gronkowski now defending from Melrose. Melrose late on the brakes, tries to go around the outside, but that's not going to happen. Locks up the inside wheel just a little bit, and that's bringing Josh Smith to the party, ladies and gentlemen. Here he comes in the dark blue number 0. Look at that, Seb Melrose with a whole head of steam powers up alongside Jordan Gronkowski and gets past into second place. Ooh, Jordan closing up in the brakes there. That looked very close. There's a little look at the inside of Seb at McIntyre. Seb again locking up that inside wheel. Shows you just how hard he's actually trying to drive that car into the corner there, just to stop Gronkowski getting close to him. And all that has done, ladies and gentlemen, yes, it's swapped positions. It's put Melrose ahead of Gronkowski, but it has also brought Josh Smith to the party. Ross Martin will be loving this one, looking in his mirrors. The next time we go on board with Jordan Gronkowski, his mirrors will be full of that deep blue, almost doom blue ex-Stuart Thorburn colour as we get towards the hairpin again. Through they come, second, third and fourth all together on the main straight, as the leader Ross Martin is starting to just check out a little bit now. All that battling really is helping Ross Martin. Fastest lap of the race so far, Gronkowski with a 54.4, so that's quite considerably faster than the race he done yesterday, where it was a 54.6 was the fastest lap. So Gronkowski 54.445, the fastest man. Look at this, so Josh Smith trying to do the Ross Martin cut back there at the exit of turn 3, but it's not to be. Gronkowski, once bitten, isn't going to be done by that again. As they come through Clark Corner, Seb Melrose starting to pull away a little bit from Jordan as we get towards Clark Corner there. A little bit of turn and oversteer for Jordan Gronkowski, but then the car kind of goes neutral as he goes back towards the apex of the corner. Not really worried about checking his mirrors. You can see he's just focused firmly on looking at Seb as they go onto the brakes of the hairpin. Where has Josh Smith gone? He is still there. Maybe a little bit of a mistake at Clark's or the chicane for him. But as they go over the crest of the hill to start another lap here, still the fastest man on track is Jordan Gronkowski. That early pace has just drifted away a little bit in the Van Diemen as we get everybody else coming through. Matchism, Ross Howe, Steve Barlow, Fraser Gray also still running, but your race leader, current champion, defending champion, reigning champion Ross Martin goes through, and then Seb Melrose has the guys behind them. The first is the number 33 car of Jordan Gronkowski. The next is the visiting 0 of Josh Smith as they go up towards Clark Corner. Then we've got Gary Sykes, Chisholm, Howe and Barlow all together with Fraser Gray as well just off that one as we go through Clark Corner. Sideways for everybody just about. James Clark in the middle of that as well. James Clark going extremely well in his McGall, and giving Gary Sykes a right hard time just now as we wait for one other car to come through. There's Fraser Gray And at the hairpin, look at this, Josh Smith trying everything to get past Jordan Gronkowski, trying everything apart from the little nudge up the back of that LD200 gearbox which is on the back of the Van Diemen. But here comes Smith, he's alongside, he pulls up and pulls past Jordan Gronkowski. Wow, that's a quick engine in that GBR car. A nice fresh bold for this weekend is seeing Josh Smith pull up alongside and through on Jordan Gronkowski. And Jordan Gronkowski, nothing he can do about that one on the main straight, mugged by Josh Smith. Now Josh Smith, oh, Seb Melrose goes sideways, that's going to ruin his momentum up towards Clark, so he goes straight on the defensive as they go towards Clark, and through they come. Tucked right underneath him is the visiting driver of Josh Smith. Seb needs to not get too involved in this, because he needs to think of the bigger picture here, as does Gronkowski as he defends in towards the hairpin. Smith tries to come round the outside of him. It's very close as they leave the hairpin. They're very close, almost interlocking wheels. Oh, there's contact, and over the top. Oh, yes, he does. He goes over the top. Smith goes over Melrose, and two of the GBR cars extremely bent. Look at the back right wheel, back left wheel, sorry, of Seb Melrose, but the car still drives on. Josh Smith, well, they went over each other's tyres initially, or into each other's tyres, then Josh went over the top of Seb, and unfortunately it looks like his car has had to retire. Jordan Gronkowski carries on, and that's a classic Formula Ford race there, just interlocking wheels, two guys not wanting to give an inch, and that has put James Clark in that Mégane into a classy third place right now, as Seb Melrose limps home. And look at that must feel horrible to drivers, stepping away from his car, surveying the damage. Shake of the head for Josh Smith as he walks away, not happy with that one. Thankfully out of the car and okay, because it's always so easy for you to hurt your hand in an instant like that, where you can sometimes trap your thumb off the steering wheel. And also the violent bang as the car comes back down onto the ground, because when a Formula car comes down from that height, it does actually belly out, and it's your backside that's almost hitting the floor as Melrose goes through very sideways there. Smith thinking about going back to the pit lane, crossing the track, but he will, you can see the face like thunder there. He'll be getting called back by a marshal as he goes over the couch potatoes board, and his car at this side of the track, not great, debris strewn all over the circuit there, and that car just a couple of feet off. Yes, it's on the grass, but it's on a fast part of the track as the rest of the guys all filter through. Ross Martin is still the leader. There he is there. Jordan Gronkowski in second place. Gave us a great cracking footage actually of Melrose and Smith coming together, Jordan, with his onboard camera. And all that melee has promoted James Clark, number 70, into third place. So James Clark will be absolutely delighted with that one, if he can hold off Gary Sykes towards the end, because it's very close for third, fourth, fifth, and actually sixth. Ross Howe, though, unfortunately, he was almost caught up with Seb Melrose when Seb was going around the circuit there. As the cars come up the main straight, Ross Martin he's been pretty much flawless in this one, hasn't he? He really has shown them exactly how it's to be done. He'd come under a bit of pressure early doors from Jordan Gronkowski, but after that, it was all about Ross Martin. Once he made that decisive move at the exit of turn 3 to take the lead again, he then never looked back, did he? He pulled away quite handsomely as we see Seb Melrose continuing round here. Great shame for Seb. He was looking good for a podium there, but then coming together with your own teammate. Great shame for Seb as he pulls into the pit lane. But let's hand down to Fiona Wallace, and Fiona will give us some driver reaction after that classic, hectic Formula Ford race.
Well done, Ross. Another win for you there.
Yeah, it was a hard race. Good start, and then grew a bit of a gap. But Jordan again, he's got a lot of pace behind me, and he caught into me. But then again, just great battling moves. Got back by him, managed to pull another gap, and then just looked at my mirrors and seen them fighting really. So it's a comfortable end to the end of the race and more points to the championship.
I thought Jordan was going to have you there because he was dicing with you quite a few times.
Yeah, he was close. I mean, he made a good clean move at Clark's, and then again just some good racing behind him, and then again managed to get a good move back by him and just take lead again. So it's nice.
You've got the big race this afternoon.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that one. David Leslie Trophy, so try better myself last year than not finishing, but yeah, we'll be going for it.
Good, well, best of luck.
Thank you. Cheers.
Well done, Jordan. P2 there. Nearly had the P1 win, I'd say.
Yeah, I was kicking myself. Fantastic battle with Ross again. In fact, the start, good battle, holding off Seb. And then, I managed to get Ross up the hill, which was a bit of a surprise, and then managed to get a little bit of a gap. And then just snatched a break at the hairpin, and that allowed him back through again. So it was disappointing. And then the battle after that with the two guys was a bit rough and tumble. So when they both got by, and then obviously the contact, I could kind of see it coming, so I stayed back a little bit, and it was bigger than I thought it was going to be. So I was kind of crossing my fingers, or thanking my lucky stars I didn't get involved in it. But yeah, I'll take the second. It's a good starting position for the next race again, and then the David Leslie race, we'll just try our best to just get in front and stay in front.
Good, well, best of luck. Look forward to seeing that race.
Thanks very much, Jay.
Well done, James. P3 finish there. Did you see much of what happened up ahead?
I didn't see what caused it, but I saw Seb and Josh sort of off from the grass and bits of bodywork going everywhere, and I could see that Gary was trying to sort of guess where Seb was going, because like obviously Seb had damaged suspension, so his car was sort of moving around all over the place a bit, and Gary was trying to guess which way he was going to go, whereas I just kept my foot in and went down the right hand side, because I thought if I follow Gary then I'll just be stuck behind him, whereas if I try something different I might just get him, and it worked. So
Good, well, yeah, it did work for you indeed. What are these cars like to drive? Are they quite physical, or are they quite easy?
it sort of depends. Like you get the car that the Miguel's quite physical to drive. The steering's quite heavy on it, but you do get used to it quite quickly. And it's more, the reason that it's physical more is like you don't get a break. So even right round here, you've only got like one decent length straight where you can at least have a break. But other than that, they're not too physical.
Is it quite cramped in the cockpit?
Yeah. The Miguel's are like, I think they're just about the smallest car that they that were made for Formula Ford, and I'm not the smallest driver for Formula Ford, so it's cosy in there, definitely.
Good. Well, best of luck for the David Leslie Trophy race this afternoon.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
So as the cars leave the holding area for the big one for the Formula Fords, this is the David Leslie Trophy race, and it's great to have Jane Leslie here, the wife of the late great David Leslie, and also Graham Leslie. We have got the son of David here. So Graham, a big fan of Formula Ford, and also a former racer as well of Formula Ford 1600. Now you might have just noticed there, coming out right at the back was the dark blue car of Josh Smith, and also the white car of Seb Melrose. Credit to the GBR guys up in the garage there, managing to repair both of those cars in between races and get them back out for this, the big one. Well, that says it all. We saw Josh Smith's car. It was two corners missing off Josh's car and a good bit of bodywork. Seb Melrose definitely had about a corner needing replaced. That would be the back left one, maybe a corner and a half. But fair play, the guys have put those cars back together and given the drivers the best chance that they can get to have a shot at the David Leslie Trophy race. Winner of the first two races has been Ross Martin. Ross kind of waltzed away towards the end of that second race when everybody started battling and jumping over the top of each other. About a 5.5 second lead he ended up with towards the end of it. But Jordan Gronkowski has had fabulous pace all weekend. Can he use that in the final race here? Can he do something? Can he get past again, but this time stay ahead of that man in the red #1 car? Only time will tell. Again, the weather conditions absolutely perfect here at Knockhill Racing Circuit as they make their way up towards the start-finish line. Some very energetic weaving from Ross Martin, and he's now almost stopped on the racetrack. So, yeah, different drivers doing different things. As we get the guys up towards the grid here. Next big race meeting for Knockhill is the Dunlop MSA British Touring Car Championship, and that's on the 25th and 26th of August. So we look forward to seeing the touring car guys take on the same track that the Formula Ford guys are taking on today, and all the support classes as well. It should be a fabulous weekend. Steve Barlow there comes up. They've got Fraser Gray at the very back, and then, yeah, look who's starting at the back together. It's the gruesome twosome. It's Sebastian Melrose and Josh Smith. They just can't separate themselves from each other today, can they? Unfortunately, they've been linked in the wrong way. But let's see how they both get through the field. We saw Josh Smith getting through the field very well in race #2 after starting at the back. Can he do it this time? The 30-second board goes out. The marshals have cleared the pit wall. Only the safety guys are there now. We wait for the 5-second board to come up, and then we'll go racing. We can see Ross Martin on the right. We see Jordan Gronkowski on the left. Right in front of us, the dark black car of Gary Sykes. White helmet with the tartan band. There goes your 5-second board. Revs start to rise, as we get a full complement of lights, and away we go. Good start by Gary Sykes there. That looked a cracker. It looks like he might actually get James Clark on the run down towards Duffus Dip, but it's going to be Ross Martin who we pick up with leading in towards it. Yes, Gary Sykes did get that third place. Cracking start. Great reaction from Gary in number 70 there as he takes that third place from Clark at the top of Duffus. Melrose and Smith already past Barlow and Gray, and they're once again together. Gearbox to nose cone, or nose cone to gearbox, whichever way you want to say it, as they go up the back straight now in towards Clark Corner. The 10 car field for the David Leslie Trophy race, all coming through. And what can those fast guys at the back do? As Ross Martin already starting to put a bit of a gap now, as we see James Clark trying to go up the inside of Gary Sykes. The McGall, through he goes. Yes, he does. And also Josh Smith passes Melrose in the background. Now, we heard James saying that the McGall's not the biggest of cars, and he is quite a tall chap, but he does shoehorn himself in that car very well, so it's very snug and cosy, as he puts it. Top of Duffus, Ross Martin, cracking style. He'll be wanting to put to bed what happened to him last year here in the David Leslie Trophy race. So I think it was a massive accident for him at the first corner. I can laugh about it now because he walked away from it, but Ross barreled the car through no fault of his own. I think he went over 3 or 4 times. So thankfully the young man got out of that car and walked away from it, but the chassis was a complete write-off. And yeah, he's been saying all weekend that this is the one he wants to win, because last year it was a disaster for him. And oh, look at this though, Josh Smith has homed right up towards the back of, is that Steve Barlow? Who is it? It's Gary Sykes. It's Ross Howe's getting done by Josh Smith. First of all, Ross not wanting to let that happen, tries to go late at the brakes. Oh, an incoming Melrose, but Seb manages to hold that one back. I've got to say, I think Josh Smith saw the white flash coming in there and was pretty respectful to Seb and not cutting across the front, because that could have been another disaster for those two drivers as they all arrive at Duffus Dip, still with James Clark, Matt Chisholm. Then Gary Sykes goes through with Ross Howe, Josh Smith and Seb Melrose. Tight through McIntyre's, and down they go through towards the chicane over the crest of the hill. A nice crocodile snake of cars as they go through there. Stevie Barlow just off the back, who has lost a little bit of pace towards the end of the midpoint of the season. Steve Barlow very fast at the beginning. As a little mistake, was that a mistake from Ross Howe? And that's letting side by side with Josh Smith. In fact, Smith and Melrose both trying to pass at the hip, and Seb goes up the inside now. Howe turns across the nose, and Seb just can't get the car through there as Josh Smith did. But another man comes under the cosh of that zero car as they go over the crest of the hill one more time. Your leaders still Ross Martin and Jordan Gronkowski, circulating with about a second between them just now. Then we've got James Clark with less than that over Matt Chisholm as he goes through. Gary Sykes, Josh Smith, Ross Howe, Seb Melrose is going to start getting a little bit anxious here. You'll see Josh Smith starting to pull away, and he knows he has the pace to stay with him, so he really needs to deal with Ross Howe as quickly as he possibly can. Sideways for Gary Sykes. That's going to hurt his momentum out of Clark Corner. Is that going to let Smith get alongside them as they break back into view? Bursting into view at the quarry here. There's second and third. In fact, it's fourth and fifth. And look at that. Josh Smith's up the inside. He slides through and he puts himself into fifth place here ahead of Gary Sykes. And Melrose also follows suit and gets past Ross Howe. Good move, Seb, as they go over the crest of the hill again here. Side by side for, was that side by side for third place there? That was Matt Chisholm trying to go around the outside of the McGall of James Clark. That's going to be a big ask for him. We wait for the camera to pick it up. It's still James Clark, number 78. But look at this behind Chisholm, starting to catch them up is Josh Smith. And Josh is bringing Gary Sykes and Seb Melrose with him. So this could turn out to be a bit of a cracking David Leslie Trophy race as they all come through the chicane and head up the back straight. Everybody using as much of the track as they possibly can before they drop into the gravel trap or get a bit of a telling off from race direction. Ross Howe kicks up a little bit of dust there, but that's nothing to really worry about as Fraser Gray also goes through. Now what can Melrose do this time on Sykes? Sykes has a little look in the mirrors. He sees Seb coming. Seb's coming from a long way back there, but not to be. Out of the hairpin, up the main straight they go. Over the crest again. then it's all downhill from here. From the start line, it's downhill all the way towards the chicane before you start that big steep climb. So the speed really does increase down here as Melrose again, a little bit of a cheeky look at Gary Sykes in towards Duffus here. He was never really in an area to pass, but he just kind of put himself in Gary's wing mirrors. As we see, Josh Smith has checked out from Gary Sykes now and is right on the gearbox of Matthew Chisholm as they go up and over the crest of Clark, and Chisholm right with, again, the man in front of him, and that is James Clark, number 70 in that McGarrel SJ08. As we pick the cars back up at the hairpin, Chisholm defends, Smith tries to go around the outside, surely not, he's going to try and go around the outside. Can he make that work? Yes, he can. Matt Chisholm gives him just enough room. He could have run him into the gravel there, but there's no real point in him doing that. Josh Smith is here racing as a guest, but Matt Chisholm very respectful of all things that stick out the side of the chassis, tyres, wishbones, things that are kind of expensive there. And it gives Josh Smith a little bit of room and racing room and leeway as they come out the hairpin, as the leaders go through the chicane. Now, is Jordan Gronkowski starting to catch the number 1 car of Ross Martin? Fastest lap of the race so far, Ross Martin with a 54.463 is wide at the chicane. Very, very wide. Was that Ross Howe or was that Gary Sykes? It was Ross Howe, and he will be coming into your view in just a minute, hopefully. Yeah, there he comes now. A very dusty Van Diemen coming through Clark Corner. Ross Howe will have the hoover out after that one, no doubt. As James Clark now defends from Josh Smith. Josh locks up an inside wheel. He's going to try the cut back and exit the hairpin. He knows he's got a good engine in the back of that GBR Ray, and look at that, he's got a wheel alongside James Clark. He's got a side-by-side manoeuvre up the main straight now with James Clark as Seb Melrose tries to get past Gary Sykes, and job done and dusted for Josh Smith on the main straight. Good manoeuvre out the hairpin there, cut back towards inside. Did Seb Melrose? Yes, Seb Melrose did get Gary Sykes. Brilliant bit of driving there from Seb as well. Both these guys started at the back of the grid. And if anything, though, Seb's car sliding about quite a bit at the back. Let's watch him as he goes through the chicane here. Maybe a little bit tail happy there. Maybe working those tyres quite hard, just having to come through the pack. And all this at the front, Gronkowski is definitely catching Martin. The gap now down to half a second. So this is going to be quite interesting as we get towards the end of the race. More dust getting kicked up from just about everybody. As into the hairpin comes our race leader, Ross Martin, under pressure now from the number 33 Van Diemen of Jordan. And what has Jordan got in his pocket? He's passed Ross Martin already a couple of times this weekend. He knows he can do it. Can he make it stick in the David Leslie Trophy race? James Clark is sticking with Josh Smith, though. That's what we should say. Josh Smith hasn't completely dropped James Clark, so a cracking run so far for that young man in number 78 car. Oh, a lot of oversteer through backing tyres for Ross Martin. Shows just how hard he's having to push this Ray to keep ahead of Jordan Gronkowski as we get towards the business end of this race. The David Leslie Trophy race, the last race on the calendar for the Formula 4 guys. 3-race programme this weekend for them. As we see Seb now pulled away from Gary Sykes. Smith in turn not pulling away from James Clark. James Clark really has upped his game this weekend. 55 flat, his best time. 55.023, his best time this weekend or today. Oh, now that looked like a spin there. Yes, it possibly was. You can hear that in the background. That was a spin for Ross Howe, just going through shot there, and Ross Howe will be kicking himself over that one. Steve Barlow did a good job to try and avoid that. As we see all the guys going up to cross the start-finish line now. And a big gap behind Gary Sykes, and it was Steve Barlow, the next car through. Matt Chisholm, though, has got ideas and intentions about trying to get ahead of James Clark. He's followed him for all the race, and Chisholm looks like he's got a good bit of late race pace inside that Van Diemen. Has he got the manoeuvre in the car to get past, though, and try and take it towards the end? Only time will tell, but we're running out of laps, we're running out of time, because as he come in towards the hairpin, this man has been absolutely awesome, and he makes a mistake towards the end of the race, side by side through the hairpin, and Jordan Gronkowski almost has an overlap. Ross Martin almost throws away the David Leslie Trophy race lead there at the hairpin, just getting a little bit keen in towards the hairpin. That's what pressure does to you, and Jordan Gronkowski all over the back of Ross Martin as they start this lap now. Josh Smith has pulled away from James Clark because Clark's now having to defend from Chisholm. But look at this, down Duffy's dip, through Leslie's and into McIntyre's. Ross Martin got away with that one. just locked up the inside wheel on the way in, then that kind of made the back of the car step out, and it just looked a little bit messy at the hairpin, but he's now putting together a decent lap. Jordan Gronkowski has done a 54.3 second lap on the last time round, so very, very fast lap for Gronkowski, 54.344. That's the fastest lap of the race. I think that's the fastest lap of the weekend. As we go towards the hairpin one more time, Seb Melrose now a little bit on his own out there. But we pick up with Smith. We've got Chisholm and Clark side by side into view. Chisholm trying on the outside. James Clark has a little look in the mirror. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 looks almost in the mirror as he comes through the hairpin there. But he's managing to just hold off Chisholm. But Chisholm's now dived back towards the inside. Is he going to try and dive bomb at Duffy's dip? It's going to be a brave manoeuvre if he can. As Ross Martin now trying everything to break the Van Diemen spirit of Jordan Gronkowski, but it's just not happening. Gronkowski is glued to the back of that car, up the back straight towards Clark Corner. Gronkowski looked better through the chicane than Martin. As we pick back up now with Chisholm chasing James Clark, and Seb Melrose has got himself involved in this as well. So that'll put a smile on Seb Melrose's face as they come in towards the hairpin, though. It's all about defending here for Ross Martin. He's on the brakes. He won't make the same mistake as he did last time. No, through the hairpin he comes and accelerates out from the hairpin up towards the checker flag, and he'll be absolutely delighted with that one. It's a win for Ross Martin. It's second for Jordan Gronkowski, third place for Josh Smith. Who's going to get fourth place? Because Seb Melrose was right in the mix here, and it is going to be Clark from Chisholm with Melrose so close with those guys as they cross the line. Gary Sykes also crosses the line, and Melrose, Chisholm and Clark all within a tenth of a second of each other. So cracking racing all the way down the field as we get Steve Barlow coming through as well. But let's hand down to Fiona Wallace for some post-race interviews for the Formula Ford David Leslie Trophy race.
Well done. What a race to win as well, and nice trophy.
Yeah, absolutely spectacular. I mean, it means a lot winning this and bringing it home to the team again for second year in a row. But yeah, it's a hard-fought battle. I mean, last year I unfortunately gave it away, but it was always my outcome to come back and win it this year, and do it in pride of David. So I hope I have done that. So.
Good. 3 out of 3 today. You must be a very happy boy.
Very, yeah. On the road to 11 now. So yeah, 10 out of 10. I'm very happy.
Good. And it looks like the championship might be yours.
Yeah, I'm not too. I need to do the numbers on that, but yeah, we'll take it as it comes, hopefully.
Good. Well, congratulations again, and look forward to seeing you next time out.
Thank you very much. Cheers.
P2, what a
Thanks. Yeah, it was absolutely fantastic. It's one of these races where every lap is just on the ragged edge. I know Ross had been the same, and I would close one lap, he would pull out, I would close, and if he made a mistake, I would catch. If I made a mistake, it was just so on the edge, but thoroughly enjoyable. Massive congratulations to Ross and the GBR guys. They're so tough to beat, but I'm so glad that we're up there giving them a battle. A massive thank you to my dad, first of all, for the work he puts in. Without him, I would never have started racing. All my sponsors, I mean, we've got Angel Wax, Henry, 1+1 Accountancy Services, Valvoline, Commercial Oils, everybody else that's on the website. I could not do this without them. So massively indebted to each and every one of them, all of my Race Space fans as well. Just thank you everyone. It's been a fantastic weekend, and hope for more next time.
Good. Well, you look very happy, and I'm very pleased for you as well. So well done.
Thank you very much. Cheers. Ta.
P3 there, what a drive up through the pack.
Yeah, it was a good drive, but to be honest, I'm a bit gutted with it because it should have been where I started the weekend in race 1. But mechanical issue put me to the back of the grid, and then race 2 I worked my way back up to second, and then had contact with my teammate, and then I'm back of the grid. I just feel like as soon as I get somewhere near, I've been put back on my backside and had to work from the ground up again, but we had a clean race then. So.
And that P3 must make up for the disappointment of the weekend.
Not quite, no, not quite, no. P3's not in. I don't come here to finish second or third. I come here to win, and it's not happened this weekend, so to be honest I'm a bit gutted, but I don't know, I suppose I couldn't expect too much from first time out in with GBR and on the race chassis, so it's just been a massive steep learning curve all weekend.
So hopefully next time you can give Ross Martin a run for his money?
Yeah, I'd hope so, yeah, I'd hope so.
Well, I look forward to seeing that anyway. Thanks very much, and congratulations again.
Cheers.
Thank you. And that concludes the racing here today for the Scottish Formula Ford 1600 Championship at Knockhill Racing Circuit. We'll see you again soon.